Hey guys, welcome back to This Mess, and oh boy, do we have a mess in store for us today. Now, I am sure by now you have heard about the whole Ned Fulmer try guys, try cheating situation. I mean, damn near SNL has fucking gotten to it by now. Like, everyone knows about this, right? Do I need to explain myself? I'll do it anyway, but like, you know about this, right? So if you're unaware, Ned Fulmer is a part of the Try Guys quartet that had originated on the media platform called BuzzFeed. Back in around 2013, 2014, they had established an ongoing series called The Try Guys, where the four of them would try new things like BDSM or, food. They did a lot of different things. They were very experimental on that show, and it got a lot of attention for BuzzFeed. It was a great show. Shortly after leaving BuzzFeed and separating from the company, the Try Guys were actually able to get the capital for BuzzFeed and create their own LLC called Second Try. And now they produce a show and a channel on YouTube called The Try Guys. Since they have established this company, they have essentially done a very similar formula as to what they did on BuzzFeed with some added people and obviously a huge team now. It seems like much more of a production. I haven't watched too much, but obviously as of recent, I have checked it out. Along with the kind of modeled out Try Guys content / formula, they also added on a few other segments called Food Babies, which featured people like Alexandra, who is going to be more intricate as we move along the story, but just keep it in mind that she is from a subsect, aka an employee of the Try Guys Second Try LLC. Even if you hadn't watched the Try Guys in a while, you kind of have an essence of what each of the guys brings to the table. Keith is the tall, funny, doesn't take anything seriously guy. He tends to make a joke of everything, and he's like, the comedy relief. Zach is a little bit more of like the anxious one, I would say. He's like the, oh, I don't know about this, guys, that guy, but he's always kind of got like an optimism about him as well. So like, he's that. And then you have Eugene, who just is that bitch. Eugene is the cool, stylish one, the mysterious one, and honestly, the only one worth a damn. I'm just kidding. I like Zach and Keith too. They're all really cool. But then you have Ned. And Ned Fulmer was like considered the wife guy. He always found a way to talk about his wife during the videos. Even before they had separated from BuzzFeed, he had talked about his wife and how in love with her he was and how much he wants to do for her and all this stuff. I mean, people have put together compilations of how much he talks about her. And eventually that kind of formed a little bit of a relationship between the audience and Ned's wife, in that he would always just bring her up that she eventually had made it onto camera through BuzzFeed stuff and then eventually Try Guys stuff, and people began to recognize her and see her as like, a part of the Try Guys. What would you call it? Like company? Not company. What would you call it? The Try Guys crew. She was a part of the Try Guys crew. She actually ended up having a podcast with the other significant others of the Try Guys, excluding Eugene's, but they had a podcast as well. So she was obviously a contributing content creator to the Try Guys. The reason we are talking about them is because it had broke news a few weeks ago that Ned Fulmer was cheating on his wife. The same wife he had essentially made his whole personality through his YouTube channel, and what everyone had known him best for was being the guy who loves his wife. That man was caught cheating. This was such a mess, and I'm going to explain how it came about, and then I'm going to get into my overall thoughts on the current events of it, because this has apparently been going on for at least a month, if not more, according to some online sources. So how all of this broke was in the first weekend of September, Labor Day weekend, Harry Styles was performing at Madison Square Garden, and a fan of the Try Guys had spotted Ned Fulmer and Alexandra at the concert. She asked for a photo with them and had noted that Alexandra was a little annoyed with the fact that they had been recognized, but like, why are you going to a public event when you both have like literally so much online credibility? Anyway, so apparently Alexandra was a bit tiffy about them being recognized, but the fan got a picture with Ned and went about her business. But then she noticed that the few days after, no one from the Try Guys crew had really posted about the concert. So they were like, well, Was Alexandra and Ned there together by themselves? That's a bit weird. Another person had recognized Ned at a club after the Harry Styles concert and had taken a photograph of him and a mystery woman having some very intimate exchanges, let's say, in the club. Now, it's pretty much been confirmed at this point, but the person that Ned was fondling in the club between 1 and 3 a.m. was Alexandra, the same girl that he was with at the Harry Styles concert. So this person had messaged Alexandra's fiance at the time and said, hey, do you know that Alexandra is in New York right now? And they were like, yeah, why? And they were like, so I think she was in the club with Ned Fulmer and they were getting all handsy, and I have proof if you want me to send it to you. And of course, the fiance's like, yeah, fucking pull up. Like, show me. They send through this video and they send through screenshots of the video showing Ned and this girl getting quite close to each other in a club. And it was indeed a very intimate kiss. The fiance replied back was like, thanks, cool. Can you tell me when this was? And the person was like, yes, around 1 to 3 a.m. at this certain club in New York City, which correlates with them being at the Harry Styles show based on the photo that the fan had took with Ned. After that, the fiance had said, okay, I just called Ariel, spoke for an hour. So that conversation had happened shortly after the Harry Styles Labor Day weekend timeline. About a few weeks after that, it had been posted on Reddit, assumingly by the fiance of Alexandra, as a response to a thread about the Try Guys in which he had stated, or someone had stated, that Ned is indeed cheating on his wife and that it seems a bit distasteful that he's doing so, considering his reputation online is the wife guy. So they had posted the screenshots of the conversation, and that had started circulating quite quickly. This had happened in correlation with a lot of suspicious behavior happening on the Try Guys channel. A few fans had noticed that Ned had been basically plucked out of videos as of recent. A fan also noticed that a portion of a video was edited where someone's elbow was still visible, and again, because of a very distinct shirt, it was Ned. A lot of people has also noticed that behind the scenes footage between the castmates had showed Ned was present for a certain filming day, but in the final result of the video, he was not present. So fans are saying, hey, Ned's been taken out. There's rumors and screenshots going around online. What's going on? On September 20th, the Try Guys had posted an update on their social media saying that they would be going down to one video a week and they will not be posting as often. Now, this has later been revealed that it was due to a lot of editing issues behind the scenes regarding Ned, but it obviously continued the online chatter that something was up behind the scenes and Ned was possibly being removed from the Try Guys. Between September 20th and September 27th, the evidence of Ned Fulmer cheating on his wife had circulated online to a point where the Try Guys were trending on Twitter, and every, let's say, pop culture news outlet possible, including a few other mainstream agencies, had posted about the entire thing, talking about Ned Fulmer cheating on his wife Ariel with supposedly an employee. On September 27th, the Try Guys official social media account had posted, quote, Ned Fulmer is no longer working with the Try Guys. As a result of a thorough internal review, we do not see a path forward together. We thank you for your support as we navigate this change. This had confirmed that Ned had done something to warrant an erasure from his quartet and his business. He was probably a really intricate part of this whole thing, and the fact that he's been forcibly evicted from it. On the same day, Ned Fulmer had posted on his Instagram, family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship. I'm sorry for any pain that my actions may have caused to the guys and to the fans, but most of all, to Ariel. The only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention. Okay, well, did you have to get caught for cheating to say that? Shit. Ariel also posted on her Instagram on September 27th, quote, thanks to everyone who has reached out to me. It means a lot. Nothing is more important to me and Ned than our family. And all we request right now is that you respect our privacy for the sake of our kids. So, it had been essentially confirmed through Ned and through Ariel herself that Ned had cheated. And based on Ned's quote that he admits that he had a consensual workplace relationship, He indeed had an affair with Alexandra. Now, before I continue with the timeline, I do want to make a point that a Instagram account called Dumois had posted a series of messages from someone allegedly saying that not only did Ned and Alexandra have an affair, but they also had been seeing each other romantically for about a year, had previously been caught by Alexandra's fiance, and he effectively threatened Ned to back off. And apparently, this affair had gone on for so long and so blatantly that employees had allegedly seen them together during lunch, talking about being at each other's houses over the weekend, and having a lot of flirtatious banter while at work. But I don't believe this is entirely true. Take it with a grain of salt. Nothing was confirmed like that, but it does perhaps make sense in some ways, perhaps not. Now, after everyone had released their statement, a lot of chaos had continued to ensue online. People were clipping together instances and episodes where Ned and Alex were acting a bit suspicious, clips that had definitely aged like milk. There was a lot of, let's say, super sleuthing going on. People were investigating, digging in. Scrumdiddlyumptious drama was just spread everywhere. And a lot of things that Ned and Alexandra had done or said really don't make them look good. And we have not really heard much, from my understanding, from Alexandra as of yet, but I'm sure she's probably working from home permanently for now. So as all of this was happening, it was a bit evident that the Try Guys needed to do something other than release this statement before continuing on with their posting schedule or even going forward with any kind of sponsorships or projects. They needed to be able to address this in a way that they can say, okay, this has happened. This is what we're going to do, or what we have done, and this is what we're going to do moving forward. They needed to be able to have that kind of transitional conversation with their audience and everyone else that is now looking at them. On October 3rd, the Try Guys posted a video titled "What Happened?" where Eugene, Zach, and Keith sit down and talk about everything that happened. Now, they don't get into like any kind of micro details or any like super intricate timelines or anything, but they do break down a general idea of when they got the information and how they acted accordingly. Now, because there had been speculation online that this relationship had gone on for a year and that employees were somewhat aware of it, it does imply or have some implication that Keith, Zach, and Eugene had, I don't know, some understanding of what was going on, and that would make them look incredibly inappropriate as well. Because how can you stand by and see not only your friend cheating on their significant other that is a friend and or a coworker, but also doing so with a subordinate / coworker? The timeline they describe in the video is that on Labor Day weekend, they had been made aware of Ned allegedly having some relations with another woman in a club after the Harry Styles concert. I believe that they were made aware because of the fiance, who was made aware by the person in the club, who then spoke to Ariel. But the assumption that I'm going to make is that the Try Guys found out the same day that the significant others had found out. So the first few days of September, they knew about this, and they effectively removed Ned from all company activities and trips. Ned was immediately suspended, and they had immediately started working on an action plan. Now, apparently at the time, Keith was touring with his comedy crew and wasn't able to coordinate things in person, and Eugene was also physically absent from the office, and Zach was essentially left to figure out this whole thing in person by himself, obviously coordinating between Eugene and Keith. From my understanding, in the podcast episode that we're going to talk about in a second, they detail basically every few hours they would speak on the phone, and no conversation lasted shorter than 30 minutes. And Keith was in a very peculiar situation where he could not speak about it with the rest of the people he was on tour with, because it was either so new, or because of legal reasons, or because, how can you even explain this stuff? Like, one of your partners / friends is having an affair with a subordinate and potentially destroying everything you've ever worked for. Like, how do you talk about that casually over drinks? I don't think you can. So Keith was forced to bottle it up and power through until he was done with his tour and he was able to get back to the office where he could coordinate with Zach and Eugene in real time. And Eugene obviously connected as well. And on October 3rd, they published this video saying all this. After they had reconnected and they had essentially all agreed that Ned needed to be removed from the company and they legally had the means to do so, they had all signed over the permissions to remove Ned from the company. Now, I believe because it's four of them, I imagine there's some equalizing of share amongst them, and three beats one out, so they all voted for Ned to get removed. This probably happened maybe midway through September, and while they were doing that, they were also speaking with their staff saying like, hey, remove Ned from all videos moving forward. Do not include him in any promotion. We're going to be redoing a lot of the site. We cannot feature him anymore. He's been removed from the company and y'all need to act accordingly. And there was not apparently a lot of communication on the specifics of it yet, but just that Ned was no longer with the Try Guys company. And apparently some of the employees had kind of had an idea of what was going on and put two and two together, but who knows? They did not give too much detail about that, and I would like to think that the small team they have of 20 would be able to keep their mouth shut for the sake of reputation and legal reasons. Like, this is such a sticky situation. I'm really hoping that none of them say anything because it really seems like they've put in so much effort. Like, they immediately were like, Ned, get the fuck out of here. No, thank you. Get your stank ass out of here and wrap your dick up because we are not tolerating that shit with you fucking a coworker. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? I could just see Eugene just fucking snapping at him, being like, are you fucking joking? So when things started kind of coming to the surface again, they had said, all right, everyone needs to prepare for this. It's about to happen. And when things finally hit the fan and the Try Guys started trending, people were tweeting, the Reddit thread, the Twitter threads, everything had started coming to the surface. They had released their statements accordingly. They also gave an explanation for why they had to go down to one video a week until the end of October was to either scrap the videos that they couldn't release because Ned is either the focal point of the video or he is in there in a way that cannot be edited out simply, and that they have to essentially rework a lot of their planning going forward because they no longer have Ned a part of the crew, and that they lost a lot of money because they had made projects that were going to get published, like videos that were fully done and ready to go, and they could not publish them and had to scrap them entirely, completely losing any investment on hours, labor, anything on that video, just completely kaput, in the garbage, done. They also make a point in this 5-minute statement to say, hey, we get it. It's a juicy, juicy story, but like, can you guys keep it the fuck down? Like, these are real people. These are our friends. And like, not for nothing, these three guys had built a legacy almost with Ned. So for him, Ned, to act so fucking carelessly, I mean, imagine that's your friend. Imagine that was your friend. Imagine that you had a friend that you built a business with, you shared memories with. You had been there for their children, for their wedding, for the start of their fucking story almost. You're there for that, for all that kind of stuff. You form this kind of bond and friendship that is both business and personal. And they do that to you? They cheat on their significant other that is your friend and coworker in public? In the club? Disgusting. The fact that the three of them were able to sit down and form any kind of statement whatsoever that wasn't full of cursing, bless them. I know Eugene wants to say it though, but they also make a point to say that women tend to be much more scrutinized in these situations than the men do. Please don't bring up people's personal attributes or past as a means to poke at them. People make mistakes and we're just trying to navigate this situation with kindness. Now, I liked that. It was cute, but like, I've got some thoughts on Miss Alexandra that I will be sharing later on, okay? I believe in women, but like, some of you bitches are dumb. The video wrapped with them saying that they're going to be releasing some new stuff soon and to basically keep an eye out for when they're going to speak about this again. They're going to try to avoid that, but they will release more information as they go through it. There's a lot of legal stuff going on, but basically, this is what happened. We wanted to be transparent about what was going on behind the scenes, and we hope you understand. Deuces. After that video was released, the next major thing that they had posted as like a kind of statement almost was the tripod episode with just Keith and Zach talking about the situation that's titled, "Okay, let's talk about it." Now, this episode was so worth a listen to. I did not even know these guys had a podcast, and you know what? Drama aside, I'm gonna subscribe. I actually really like their dynamic. I think they're great together. The video is just of Keith and Zach essentially talking about a more candid version of what happened. And Eugene is not present because Eugene does not like posting podcasts. He does strike me as somebody who is very to himself. I believe he did not come out about his relationship for like majority of his presence online. And I can understand why he wouldn't want to be in a podcast where you have to like speak a lot about personal anecdotes. During this podcast episode, they do fill in a lot of the gaps that were left out of their 5-minute statement video, and it gives the details about what Keith was doing, what Zach was doing, and talking about how they had kind of emotionally gone through this. There was a lot of focus on how they had felt about the whole situation, which I'm glad they did because honestly, this kind of situation is quite traumatic. I know people were feeling some type of way about that word, but it is trauma in a lot of ways. I mean, this was a complete shift of how you feel about somebody that you considered incredibly close. And they also spoke about how this had affected them beyond just what the surface level of it was. Like beyond just losing a friend, beyond having to adjust things and lose money business-wise. It was an emotional roller coaster for them because they had finally achieved a balance of the work that they were doing in the daytime, their personal projects, and their like actual personal lives. And Zach was saying that he had his whole life essentially turned upside down because of what happened. And there was projects he was doing, a movie and or series that he was going to try and pilot had completely halted and or is not going to get off the ground. Keith had detailed that he is trying to go perhaps off Broadway with his comedy crew. I don't know if that's entirely like what he was saying, but that was kind of the gist of what I got. But he's saying there was opportunities that he could have taken on or was going to take on with his own personal journeys through the Try Guys and opportunities that they had all gained through this kind of corporation that had been completely halted and or destroyed because of what happened. They also spoke a lot about how they had felt such a responsibility towards their audience to provide this transparency with this drastic change. They have that parasocial relationship. I know that word's getting thrown out everywhere lately. People had a very strong parasocial relationship with these guys, and they acknowledge the fact that this is a relationship they have with people and that people rely on them emotionally to put out content and stuff like that. They seem like really nice people, so this just really sucks. You could really tell how much it sucked for them and how hard it was for them to get through all of this. Since the What Happened video and this podcast episode, they hadn't really been posting too much. They had posted a couple little tidbits here and there of them like screaming in the middle of a field. From my understanding, I don't believe Ned has posted anything on social media, but since this whole thing has happened, I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, SNL has officially made a sketch about it, which wasn't really that funny, but it's still a bit embarrassing to have your full name and legacy put on a parody show where they are mocking the whole situation. Granted, I think they were mocking more of like the reason we all care about it, like what, it's breaking news, this guy cheated on his wife, wow. I'm going to share some of my personal thoughts on the situation before concluding, and I again, just want to say, I'm not trying to hate on anyone. I'm trying to approach the situation with empathy and kindness, but I've got some things to say. Let me first start off with Ariel and Ned. Y'all need to promise me, okay? Or promise yourself. Promise whomever, but y'all need a promise to not give Ariel shit if she decides to stay with him. That is completely and utterly her choice. And whatever conversation they have behind the scenes is what they need to have in order for her to make the best choice for herself. If she decides to stay with him, which she seems to be leaning that way, we all need to take a second and respect it, okay? This has happened so many times before. Beyonce has stayed with Jay-Z. Hillary Clinton stayed with Bill Clinton. It happens. Chloe is going to go back to that guy for the rest of her fucking life, I swear. Like, people do that. They will stay loyal even if you personally feel that you shouldn't. Now, here's the thing. If she does decide to stay with Ned, which is, again, I think where she's leaning, she cannot have an online presence the way she did before, and neither can Ned. The both of them need to agree that if they want to stay together and they want to flourish and be better as human beings together, they cannot be online. Ned needs to get a normal ass job, and so does Ariel, because if they stay together and they post any content, even not with each other, even if Ariel starts her own business, her own channel, her own vibe and all that stuff, and doesn't feature Ned as often, people will still comment and talk about it and bring it up, and it will never die. Same thing with Ned. If he posts anything related to his kids or Ariel, he's going to be flooded with negative comments saying whatever the fuck people are going to come up with. The only way for them to have an online career is if they get divorced. And the only way for them to stay together is if they do not have an online career. That's the only alternatives I can see. There is a very observational imbalance when it comes to how women are treated and how men are treated in results to cheating and or affairs. It's very evident that men are not always held to the same standard and are often excused for their behavior, and women are the primary reason that the cheating had happened and therefore are the entire reason people dogpile, scapegoat, all that shit. I acknowledge and I understand that there is a power dynamic between Ned and Alexandra. He is her boss, he has the authority over her, and if he was to pressure her into any kind of situation, she may feel compelled to do certain things because of that power dynamic at the workplace. And I'm not going to say that she doesn't have a right to feel that way and or express herself if she ever decides to come out with a statement and wants to explore what that kind of dynamic was and how it influenced her decision making. Because not for nothing, her and her fiance were together for fucking 10 years. They were together for 10 fucking years. 10 years. A decade. That's a long fucking time to be together, and you cheat on him with Ned Fulmer? Disgusting. I will say though, however, she is fully aware that that man is married. I can understand how she may have felt some type of way and some type of pressure in order to engage in some kind of relationship with Ned and not really being able to end it because he's her boss, and if he felt some type of way about it, he has the ability to make her life a living hell. But at the same time, I did see a little bit of a podcast clip of Alexandra detailing a time where she was approaching a man at a bar and peer pressuring him to drink and to flirt with her and to kiss her and all this stuff while she knew that he was in a relationship with somebody else. He initially denied her because he was in a relationship, and she details pressuring him to take shots. And I've seen other clips of people saying that Alexandra can be a bit of a peer pressurer and that she is a bit, let's say, forceful when it comes to drinking and other activities. Women are fully able to be malicious, evil people as well. The same way that Ned was able to disrespect and dishonor his relationship with his wife, Alexandra did so with her fiance. They're both garbage people. For Ned to formulate his entire identity online as somebody that is loyal and adoring of their wife, to then be so blatantly cheating on them in public, like, he did not hide it. I'm interested to see what he's going to do next, though, because he does have this massive social media platform, although I think people have, like, very much unsubscribed from him and unfollowed. What can he do online from here on out? What could he possibly post? What could he possibly have to say? His whole personality is a fraud now. That's all we knew him for, was the wife guy, the family guy. That's obviously a facade. So are we going to be able to digest the real Ned? Probably not, because the real Ned is somebody that would make out with some fucking co-working ass, subordinate ass bitch in a club and not even think, oh, someone's going to take a photo and send it to my wife that I talk about online all the time, to my millions of subscribers and followers. The real Ned is a moron, and we see that now, and he cannot come back to the internet. He's done. What an emotional time for everybody. Wow. I think we all deserve a nap at this point. On that note, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.